Virgo energy. Okay. As soon as I like just breathed into it, I was like, ooh, all right, Virgos. Hey everyone, I'm Molly. I've been a practicing psychic since 4th grade, which is over 25 years ago. This is Virgo's Sun and Rising read for 2026. What energy is coming in for you? What message do you need to hear? But Virgo energy, it really just feels like Virgo is normally paying attention to detail, but now the type of detail that Virgo is paying attention to is starting to switch. The type of detail, and also reminiscing on things that maybe Virgo paid attention to, but then just kind of overpassed. You know, there's almost like this energy. I'm thinking of like way back in the day when like people are like mining for like gold, and like everyone's mining and everyone's doing this work, and then somebody else like finds the gold, and you're like, you've been there 4 days longer than them, you've been like hitting and looking and trying so hard, but the guy who's been here for like 2 hours, like they're the ones who end up just walking in and finding the gold, and you're like, what the heck? And it really just feels like Virgo's really moving through this energy of understanding the flow state, understanding energy. It's like almost like not being so rigid, getting rid of some of the rigidness. And I want to say it's also because Virgo's energy is very highly connected to logic. It's very highly connected to logic. And so all my planets are in Virgo. And so paying attention to all the different things, it's like now logically, emotions and logic, you interpret them differently. Emotions are feelings. Emotion is energy. Emotion is what you can't see. You have to interpret it internally. You have to feel through it. You know, it's a feeling. Whereas like logically, if you hold something, if you look at it, it's measurable. It's there. You can explain why it's there. And it feels like Virgo energy. It's almost like this like self-combustion, the way that I'm seeing it. It's almost like I think the way that I'm seeing it in my mind's eye, I think this is like what happens when like a star blows out and then all the particles fly all around and then it gets sucked back in, and then, I mean, it takes a really long time, but then like a new star forms. That's the way that I'm seeing Virgo's energy, just very transformative, but also starting to see truth a little bit more, seeing the depths of why things are the way that they are, seeing the behind story of why it is the way that it is. It's almost the way that I'm seeing it. They're showing like a news article, and then afterwards, after you watch the news article, you know the news article was cut down, so it's missing half the components. It's almost like Virgo is like going throughout their day, and then all of a sudden they just like stop and they see the rest of the story. They see the behind the scenes. It's almost like they're awakening up to see a little bit more. Their third eye is really expanding. It almost feels like it's radiating out the way that like it feels in my energy right now, moving away from the way that we saw things were happening. And now all of a sudden you're like, no, I'm going to be part of the change. I'm going to be something that gets the flow of energy in a different direction, because I don't like the way that this is working. Whereas before, it feels like Virgo worked towards what benefited them. Now they're thinking about what benefits everything around them, not what benefits all the people around them. No, that's not the way they're thinking. What benefits the energy a little bit more around them. They're able to pick up on that feeling of working outwardly to create something bigger, moving out of the shell. And there's almost like this feeling that Virgo is kind of sitting with, where they feel a little bit misunderstood, where they always felt so sure before, they always felt so certain, and now all of a sudden they're questioning everything. And that's really what it feels like. It feels like going inside internally, a lot of breakthroughs, looking at a lot of different types of relationships and energy around us right now, starting to question things a little bit more. Why am I okay with this? Why was I okay with that? Why did I do this? And it's funny too, because it also feels like this Virgo energy, it's not that they're just looking at themselves, they're also looking at everything around them, because by looking at everything around them, they're going to be able to understand themselves a little bit more. You know, taking in, it's almost like the power is knowledge. That's what I'm hearing, like power is knowledge with Virgo energy. The more that we understand, the more that we can see clearly. It almost, honestly, it feels like an aura, like energy shift. Like I feel like, you know, it really is like a feeling like about to see a bunch of auras, about to see the energy, about to really interpret things a little bit more. I'm thinking of like a field of grass, but like with like really majestic animals, majestic deer, but it doesn't even like, it feels like very innocent, like the innocence of animals. But it's almost like the innocence of animals feel everything, so they feel the energy around them, so they're always on high alert. Like Virgo doesn't feel like it's on high alert, but it's this energy where it feels like Virgo all of a sudden is starting to feel everything in a different way around them. I feel like it's almost like Virgo used to always feel like in high alert energy because they just had this confidence of just knowing, and now they're moving into this not confident in fully knowing, but rather more into this like studious phase, studious chapter of wanting to learn a little bit more about why things are the way they are, about why things are shifting the way that they are. You know, needing to go internally, needing to spend more time alone, not needing to be around a lot of people. Feels like a lot of internal breakthroughs right now. A lot of internal breakthroughs, but that's because it feels like a combustion. It feels like you're really completely going through a whole new build, but it still feels like a little bit of like the collapse. You're still seeing the truth come up because you've been sitting with it for a while. You've been sitting with the perspective shifts, and now you feel a little bit more confident to do something about it. Sometimes we take a while to have to process through things, especially when we try to logically write it off. Then the feelings come back around to us in a different way. So when it comes back around, then inevitably at some point when it comes back around, because it might loop around that a couple times, after you sit with it, you really start to have a different perspective and feel it differently and notice it differently, because it feels differently inside, because that's where a lot of the shifts come from. So really, truly, I feel like going inwardly right now, spending more time with yourself, dear Virgo friend, paying attention to the details, waiting on it though. It feels like you're really good at waiting on it, waiting on bringing it up, waiting on bringing it out into the open, waiting and seeing how it pans out, because it's really, truly the internal shift for you. You don't want to involve anyone else until you know what you're doing. High Priestess energy. You're really coming home to self and stepping into your intuition, but it's because you're starting to slow down and you're using logic with the intuition. Intuition's great, logic is great when you know how to use them together correctly. Magic. Oh, good for you. It feels heavy on the head, but like really, truly, truly, it just feels like needing to brush away, because you're brushing away old thought belief systems to make space for the new. That's really where it's coming from. I love you, Virgos. Keep going.